Hi, I'm Danny Brown with Myriad Real Estate Group here with this week's 5. Number 1, the U.S. retailer isn't dead yet. When the stay-at-home orders hit across the country, retail sales plummeted as we knew they would. No one was allowed to leave their home and all non-essential stores were closed. Good luck buying anything online as everything was sold out and shipping delays were insane. As the stay-at-home orders have been easing across the country, retail sales were reportedly up 17.7% from the prior month. This number was way above what was expected and caused a jump in the stock market. Mix this with last week's news of 2.5 million jobs being created, and there is some hope. I've been postulating for months that on the other side of this, people were going to be itching to spend money and get out of their house. For those people who remained employed during the lockdown, collecting their salary with nowhere to spend it, they would be flush with cash. For those who are unemployed, some have been collecting more than what they would have been paid at their job. I don't think you can ever count out the American consumer and their willingness to spend money. While these reports and numbers are wonderful, they're still well below the pre-COVID numbers. Stores are still closing and many more are filing for bankruptcy. It was actually just reported that Starbucks, of all companies, is closing over 400 of its stores. Not to mention the US still has an oversupply of retail. We currently have 18 square feet of retail space per person, while countries like the UK have 3 square feet of retail space per person. The contraction of retail is real and will continue. COVID has just increased the speed of this trend. Number 2, buy the dip holds true this time. After Fed Chair Jerome Powell spoke last week, the stock market dipped almost 6% as he reported a long road to recovery and the need for more stimulus from Congress. On the heels of the retail sales being up, the market has since rebounded though. Recently, it was only 8% off its record highs. Some speculate though that the rise in the stock market since the crash has been overblown and we're due for a lot more volatility. They recommend having a savings plan and sticking to it to diversify your risk. Number 3, a second stimulus check is sounding highly likely. The HEROES Act, which is a $3 trillion plan that would authorize Congress to send out another batch of stimulus checks to almost all households, passed in the House and is currently being debated in the Senate. The White House is encouraging the Senate to pass some form of this bill, and hopefully soon. The bill in its current form is quite robust. It would include a $450 weekly bonus if people go back to work, but would also extend the current unemployment benefits beyond the end of July. This bill will also help support state and local governments who are in dire need of assistance. They're actually predicting mass layoffs in the form of government employees and teachers if they don't get help soon. For most Americans, they would get a second round of stimulus checks. The dollar amount is still being debated, but it could be up to $6,000 for a household. In its current form, individuals with student loan debt could even see up to $10,000 in loan forgiveness. The bill would also allocate billions of dollars to utilities, highways, transit systems, and CDC resources. I've stated before, one of the ways the government could help lower the high unemployment rate would be through a massive infrastructure bill to help our failing systems, much like the New Deal assisted in pulling the US out of the Great Depression. The Senate would prefer the HEROES Act to cost closer to about $1 trillion, while the White House is stating that it should be closer to around $2 trillion. Either way, we probably won't see anything signed into law until closer to the end of July. Number 4, real estate news. I've been discussing recently how few homes there are for sale right now in the greater Phoenix area. This shortage has put us in an extreme seller's market in terms of supply and demand. Currently, we have right around 8,000 single-family homes, townhomes, and condos listed for sale, which is about a 1 month worth of inventory. This means that if we don't add any other homes to the market, we will eventually sell out in about a month. For the greater Phoenix area to be in a balanced market, we should have closer to, say, 40,000 homes on the market. Just to put things into perspective of how drastic the shortage of homes is, check out these numbers. Right now, there are only 1,200 homes for sale in the city of Phoenix. The historical average is 4,500. Mesa only has 400 homes, while their average is 1,600. Gilbert only has 255, while their average is 1,100. And Chandler only has 237, when their average is around 1,000. This shows you that we are absolutely in a housing crisis, but not the type of housing crisis you would typically think of. This is a crisis of inventory and affordable homes for people to purchase. And the rental market isn't faring any better either. There are extreme shortages in affordable rentals as well. 5. Mortgage news. In April, the US saw the highest monthly prepayment rate in 16 years, meaning people paid off their current mortgages. Now, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden people came into a ton of money and paid off their loans. This means that everyone is refinancing their home to pay off their existing mortgage due to how low interest rates are. In April, the US also saw the largest ever single-month jump in delinquencies. This is up over 90% and largely due to borrowers requesting forbearances on their mortgage payments. The total for last month was 1.6 million home loans became past due during April in the United States. Now for Arizona, during the month of April, we saw non-current home loans, meaning they're behind in their payments, jump 91%. This rate was historically low prior to COVID-19, so the jump took us up to 5.2% of all home loans in Arizona. Will these delinquent mortgages lead to an uptick in listings? I think so, but only time will tell if that actually happens. However, I don't think we're going to see a flood of foreclosures hitting the market anytime soon. I do think that we'll see some people potentially sell their home that they can no longer afford though. The big difference between what's happening now versus 2008 is that based on when a homeowner purchased their home, they have a ton of equity in it. Combine that with the fact that we don't have a huge supply of homes on the market already like we did in 2008, Arizona is in a good spot even if we see an increase in listings or foreclosures. The potential increase is actually very much needed as long as demand holds steady. And that's this week's 5. If there are any topics you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.